After everything, why do I keep trying? That's a really interesting question. I'm Elissa, and if you haven't seen my last few videos, I strongly suggest watching them so you know what on earth is going on in this video. Today I'm going to continue talking about, well, as you've guessed, why I still try after all the difficulties, after everything that's happened, after how difficult it's been. Why do I keep trying to be on YouTube and do what it is that I'm doing right now? So let's get into that. Why am I a YouTuber? I don't know if you've ever felt this way. Have you ever had a feeling where you're just meant to be doing something? While you're doing it, you're like, oh, I'm meant to be doing this. You just feel something feels right about it. That's the way that I've always felt about YouTube, even before I started. I've been attracted to this platform pretty much since the beginning, and I even used to post cringy videos of myself in 2009, 2010 of myself singing, which thankfully have been deleted. But even though I deleted those videos, I've always felt drawn to coming back to it, because when I was making those videos, I was just making a couple of covers, putting them on YouTube, not talking to the camera, and it didn't feel like enough. Like I always felt like I wanted to do more. So in 2016, when I graduated from university and I was learning Italian and talking to a lot of Italians, I made a video without the intention of starting a YouTube channel, just to help them out with a common question that people always had for me. That helped them with their English and they found it helpful, but I didn't really think twice about it. Then in 2018, when I was living in Australia, I posted my first video with the actual intention of beginning a YouTube channel. And that's where it all started. To this day, that is the most viewed video on my channel. So I've just always been attracted to it. I like to talk, as you know. I like talking for extended periods of time, so YouTube allows the space for that. I just really like it. Let's talk about when I was young. So in around 2009 or 2008, that was the period when I was really getting into watching YouTube. I spent so much time watching videos, it was really taking off. I was in high school at the time, and I was the type of person who often felt misunderstood by my peer group. So let me know if you felt the same way. When you were in high school or when you were younger, did you feel misunderstood by your peer group or kind of disconnected or like you were on a different wavelength? What was your high school experience like? Because I know lots of people had a great experience, but mine was a little different. It was hard for me to connect to my friends completely. So did you feel like you had good friends, or did you feel alone? That's my question for you. This all relates to why I do YouTube. Even when I was a kid, I think a lot of my childhood experiences have actually shaped me in more ways than I thought, and I think those also contribute to why I want to do YouTube. Let's pause for a quick second because this portion of the video is sponsored by Elissa Speak. Elissa stands for English Language Speech Assistant. So for any of you non-native speakers watching right now, if you're trying to improve your English pronunciation skills, let me tell you, this app, I love it. It'll actually help you a lot with your pronunciation and with your vocabulary, and there are all sorts of tools, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how it works. We can practice daily lessons, improve pronunciation, study by topic, earn a certificate. You can also use the dictionary, which I love. So the question here is, can you emphasize the right part of the word?
I don't speak English fluently.
I don't speak English fluently. See, I overemphasized the word speak, so I'm going to emphasize it a bit less now. I don't speak English fluently. Perfect. In this lesson, you will learn to emphasize the right syllables within words. Words have both stressed and unstressed syllables.
Action.
Action. Perfect. What if I say action? Yeah, it doesn't like it, and rightly so. Good job, Elsa.
Condition.
Condition. Condition. Yeah, I said condition instead of condition.
Collaboration.
Collaboration. Okay, let's try to make it angry at me. Collaboration. Another thing I love about Elissa is the dictionary feature. Let's say you're reading a book and you come across a word that you don't know and you want to know how to say it, you can just look it up, or you can look up the entire sentence. So, for example, I'm going to grab my good friend Anne of Green Gables. Okay, this is an example of a word that if I were not a native speaker, I might want to see how to pronounce.
Bewildered.
Bewildered. Perfect. So what I love about it is for all the Italians watching this, because I know that most of you are Italian, it shows me the translation in Italian so I can see what it means. It means sconcertato. What I love is that you can click on the word and you can see how you pronounced each sound. So obviously in this case, I pronounced everything correctly because, well, of course I'm a native speaker, but let's say you pronounce it incorrectly, bewildered. okay? It caught that it was pretty good, but the I was a little bit off. I can click on this and see, look, I have to pronounce as in it, did, bewildered, not I. And it even tells me what I said. It even knows that I said bewildered. And I can see how Elsa says it, bewildered, and how I said it, bewildered. I just find that so useful. Anyway, I love Elsa, so if you want to try out Elsa Speak, I have 2 special links for you. In the first link, you can download the pro version of Elsa Speak for 7 days for free, which is awesome. And with the second link, you'll get an 85% discount on a lifetime membership of Elsa, which is just absolutely incredible. Thank you, Elsa, for sponsoring this video. I love you oh so very much, and let's get back to the topic at hand. I've always felt like I've had all this love I want to give, and I've had all these thoughts I want to share, but I didn't always feel like I had people to share them with. Or I didn't feel like people really understood when I would talk about certain topics, which we can call deep, okay? Or just talking about life, or talking about life stories, or just talking about things that were serious. I didn't feel like people really got it. And I mean, this was even when I was 12, maybe, you know, 12 is an age where you're not usually thinking about extremely serious topics most of the time. I felt like people my age, or at least the people that I had access to in my high school, which wasn't a huge high school, they just weren't really interested in talking about those topics. So what could I do? I mean, I could just keep it all to myself, or I could, maybe I wouldn't be able to share it, but at least going on YouTube, I was able to find a place where maybe other people were sharing similar kinds of thoughts, or at least talking about their lives. And that was just fascinating to me. I've always had this thing, which if you look at my song lyrics, because I write songs, by the way, there's often this theme of honesty and this theme of trust. That's something that's really important to me. And one of the most amazing things for me is feeling like I'm trusted with other people's information. If somebody comes to me with a problem, I'm just like, oh my God, you trust me enough to tell me your problems? Like, you're letting me into your life? To me, that's just, it's the best feeling ever. So I trusted others enough to talk about my life. I sometimes felt trusted, but just, it wasn't enough. That's one of the reasons why I found so much comfort in watching YouTube. I mean, part of it was just to be entertained, but a lot of it was just seeing, I don't know, I just felt like I could kind of enter into people's lives. Does that make sense? I don't know if you feel this way with me, but when you watch my videos, do you kind of feel like I'm your friend in a strange way? Because it's like, you know, I don't know you, but you kind of know me. And so in a weird way, it like kind of feels like we're friends. Does that make sense? Because that's something I've always felt, and I've just always loved that feeling that I could just enter into someone's life. And so, for example, Blair Fowler has been making videos for a long time. Around that time, around 2009, 2010, she was making a video series called Throughout the Years. I think it was a trend. Basically, what you do is you talk about every year of your life, and you do a whole video talking about all the important things that happened to you in that year. And it was just so cool for me to feel like, wow, I kind of feel like I know this person in some ways, almost more than some of my friends in real life. It was a strange feeling, and that feeling was so addictive to me. I just loved it. I just love getting to know people. There are some things that are coming that are going to be related to that. You'll see within the next while. The point is that around that time, I started feeling really inspired and really just had this feeling like I wanted to do it myself. So that's kind of where the inspiration began. By the way, let's pause for a sec. Are you enjoying this chat so far? Because if you are, don't forget to like this video because it helps me out so much. And subscribe. So these feelings led me to believe that other people are probably feeling the same way. At least someone out there must be feeling the same way because I can't be the only one. How cool would it be for me to be on the other side of that? How cool would it be for me to be the person on that screen that I'm watching right now, talking about my life and talking about anything, whatever I want, and having other people feel connected to me? That was just so exciting to me. It's always been really important to me to give love to others and to, I don't know, I guess help people feel understood. I just like the feeling that I get when I'm watching a video and I feel like that person is keeping me company. It's just like very comforting, you know? And so not everyone happens to be blessed enough to be surrounded by people that make them feel understood. So maybe I can be one person that can slightly contribute to you feeling less alone, or just to be someone to kind of keep you company. Do you feel that way? Not necessarily with me, but do you feel that ever? Do you feel that with other YouTubers? Or is that, it can't be just me, but I want to know about Of course, it's not a one-way street. Being a YouTuber isn't just about giving love, it's also a lot about receiving love. So I get a lot of love from the people who watch me, which is great. And again, relating to childhood, I think that even though I had an immaculate childhood in terms of my family, like my family was perfect, I had a great childhood, but I was bullied. So I think that not horribly, like I wasn't beat up or anything, but you know, emotionally being picked on, being made fun of a lot every day. Like my mom told me that every day I would come home from school and be so sad because kids kept making fun of me. And I think that that probably left like a little hole where I just felt like I needed a little bit extra love, a little bit of maybe not validation, but I don't know, just a little bit of extra love from my peer group, because I feel like my whole life, not so much now, but growing up, I didn't get a whole lot of love from my peer group. And I think that I've always searched for acceptance in that way. So feeling a little bit misunderstood in that period of my life, I think that making YouTube videos is a way that kind of fills that gap. And it's like, hello, child version of me, here's your love. So even something like that doesn't seem very serious can actually have an effect on you for your whole life. And I think that is one of those things that, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be something horrible. You don't have to have the worst thing ever happen to you in order for it to affect you a little bit throughout your life. So a lot of it is about giving and receiving love. That I really like that about YouTube. There is a lot of hate too, but I don't care. Because there is a lot of hate, things can be difficult. And because of the things I mentioned in the last few videos, it is really difficult for me to make videos because of, well, everything that I talked about before. So the question is, after everything, why do I keep trying? There are many reasons for that. If you were to ask me what my meaning in life is, or at least what something really meaningful to me is that I've connected to my whole life, I would have to say stories. That I need to hear stories, I need to tell stories, I need to share stories. That's always been really important to me. And I think that that's also reflected in my interests. If you look at my interests, if you look at the fact that I like to sing, that I like to write songs, that I like to act, that I like to even learn languages, those are all kind of connected to the same thing. They come from the same source, right? They're all about connection and stories and helping other people feel understood. That's the thing that I love the most about writing songs, is that when people hear them, they feel like, oh my God, I never heard somebody else express that same feeling that I felt. And it could be through a YouTube video. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Yeah, so like, look at it. YouTube, singing, writing songs, acting, like all of it is about stories. That's the one thing they really share. And they all revolve around communication, which is something that is really important to me. So why YouTube? I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you know, also why social media? I think that there's something powerful, not in the like, power hungry kind of way, but in the like, I don't know, it's just there's something cool about being able to talk to so many people at the same time. Like having access to such a large audience is something that not many people had before, but with social media, so many people have, which can be a good thing and a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. And that's just really cool. I know I've said that a lot of times in this video, but it is. And I do use other forms of social media, and similar things can be done through other platforms for sure. But YouTube is kind of where it started for me, I guess. And so it is definitely the platform that I feel the most connected to. Although I do really love Instagram as well, because you guys can see some day-to-day stuff, which by the way, follow me on Instagram and other social media platforms, if you please. So even though it can be difficult, doing YouTube can be difficult, people are going to criticize you just because you made a video. People are going to insult you and whatever. There are also a lot of good things that come from it that just make you feel great. There's a lot that you gained from it. There are a lot of friendships you can make. I've made a lot of friends through YouTube, and it just feels worthwhile. There's something in it that there's something about it that won't let me give up. Even if I wanted to, it's like there's something kind of deeply intuitive, I guess, that's telling me like, you have to keep doing this. It just feels too right to do it. And I just feel too good when I'm making videos, and I feel like it's something that I'm supposed to do, like I'm meant to do, like it's my destiny. But for real, when I make videos, it just feels like I'm building something. Sometimes you can just feel when something is aligning inside of you and when you're on the right course in life. And it feels like the right thing that I'm supposed to be doing right now. So that's why even if it is difficult sometimes. I mean, any job can be difficult for various reasons, but I've talked a little bit about what's difficult about YouTube, and it kind of doesn't matter because I kind of love it too much. As I said, it's the same feeling I get when I sing, it's the same feeling I get when I write songs, and when you get that feeling when you do something where it just feels so unbelievably right, it's like you can't stop because it's too meaningful, I guess, and it's too important. Those are my thoughts. So how about you? What do you have to add to this conversation? Have you felt any of the things that I've talked about in this video? Or do you feel like the things that I said don't really apply to your life? Because I am really interested in knowing, and I will be reading all the comments. What feels meaningful to you and what makes you feel like you're on the right course in life? I just think that's a really interesting topic and a really interesting conversation for us to have. I really enjoyed talking to you guys about this. I'm really eager to see what you guys have to say and to see how this applies to your life. Thanks for being on this journey with me on these videos that just feel so good to me because they just feel even more right than the old videos I was doing did, at least for the time being. And of course that can change. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you ever want to see my face again, and I'll see you in the next video.